Welcome back to my Colorado Mountain Garden and Homestead, and today is Tuesday, June 3rd. I'm going to go over making yeast fertilizer. I'm getting ready to plant my peas and my cucumbers, and I have been using yeast fertilizer in my garden for quite a long time, since before COVID. Um, there are recipes, and they're all over the board on how much of yeast and sugar and water and all that to add. This is my way of doing it. The first thing I wanted to talk about is the cost of yeast. So you can buy yeast in the little packets, and in my neck of the woods, it's basically King's, Safeway, and Walmart. Those are the big ones where you can pick up the little packets. And King Supers and Safeway are pretty close in price, about $2.20 for 3 packets of yeast. Walmart is a little bit cheaper. They're $1.88 for 3 packets. You can get a 4-ounce jar of yeast, and that's going to run you around $6.50 for a 4-ounce jar. Or you can get bigger sizes at somewhere like Costco or Sam's. Now, I'm a big baker, so I buy mine at Costco or Sam's. Most recently, mine was purchased from Sam's Club. I checked real quick today for my area, being Colorado, online, and for, let's see, it's a 2-pack. Each pack has 16 ounces in it, and it's $5.98. So it's definitely worth, if you have the membership, to go buy the yeast. I will amend right at the beginning on many of my plants, and like I said, I'm going to be doing peas and squash and cucumbers very quickly. So I'm going to be making enough for all those beds. Then I'm going to plant my plants and or my seeds in the case of the peas. And then I'll come back through in a few weeks and give them another dose. Yeast is one of those things. The yeast, I don't even really know why they call it a fertilizer. To me, it's a soil enhancer. While there is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in the actual yeast cells, it's not a large amount, but it is large enough to be more like a organic store-bought fertilizer, where the levels are pretty low. So, but again, I don't know, and I didn't find anywhere, because this is 2 tablespoons of yeast is what I'm going to be using today in each of my containers. And I don't know exactly where that's at, but you're not going to burn your plant or anything like that. I use it primarily for increasing microbial activity. It gets those microbes going. If you're starting a new compost pile, instead of buying the products that say, compost starter or whatever, you can use yeast. It does the same thing, just gets the microbes going. Again, it's not high in any sort of nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, or any other thing, so you don't have to worry about burning anything. A lot of people say that if you foliar feed your plants like tomatoes and cucumbers and squash, that they'll produce more flowers and stuff. I don't foliar feed. One, it's kind of a pain, and because this is going to have sediment in it from the yeast itself, it will clog your sprayers and stuff like that. So just be aware of that. For my recipe, and I'm going to get one shot at this, I use 1 tablespoon of sugar. And I dissolve that into 2 cups of water. So we're going to go ahead and pour that in right now. And this is, I think, a gallon or a gallon and a half container. I'm only going to put in a gallon of water, but it's not going to be all at once. I'm going to end up putting in 8 cups, which is a half a gallon. So I have a 4-cup thing measured out, but I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 more. Give me just a second here to get this. Now, the first 2 cups had the sugar in it. And I do that at a higher temp so that the sugar dissolves, and then I let it sit and come down to just being like lukewarm water. Like what if you've had kids and the milk, when you warm up the milk for your baby, that's about where you want it. And I have going to make a mess here. That's why I have the newspaper. So that is 4 cups of water. To that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of yeast. And in this water is 1 tablespoon of sugar dissolved. Now, the sugar is there to feed the yeast because we want to let this sit and bloom. And blooming is just the yeast cells growing. And I like to put enough water in there before I pour the yeast in, just so it doesn't stick to the bottom as much. Now we're going to see how good I am at this. So this is 4 more cups of water. Yeah, I'm not so good. I'm going to pour it fast. It doesn't spill as much. It's okay if it's a little off. And then you're going to come back through, and the reason why I have this rubber band here is that once I get this mixed around, so I can come back and at least do pictures of how much yeast, how much it rises up as it blooms. I need to let this sit for 2 hours after we mix it up before adding any more water. And unless you can do the whole gallon at once, but a lot of times when your yeast blooms, it's going to rise way up and you don't want it to spill out. So we're just moving this rubber band up to about where it's at. So as this goes, I'll take a few pictures every so often of it, and then if I have time, I'll do another video. But I wanted you to see how I make it, why I make it. When you purchase yeast, we're to get it for the least amount of money. And what's going to happen is as this yeast blooms and eats that sugar, it's going to expand and it's going to get foamy. And it's already starting to get foamy, but you can't really see it yet. Usually it takes about 10 or 15 minutes before you start really seeing it get going. So like I said, I'll come back and take some still pictures, post those on my Facebook page. The link to that Facebook page is always listed below. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's kind of cloudy here, but we got an inch of rain, so that's good. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Happy gardening!